The story begins with Wu Chu and a boy in his apartment trying to turn on the air conditioner, but can't because the appliance is broken. After several failed attempts, he gives up and thinks that he should call a technician to fix the appliance. He wanted to drink water, but that didn't work either. Then his watch started working strangely on his wrist and displayed a screen with a reminder that it was 10 minutes before the official start of the Perfect World game beta test. In 23 minutes 0, most jobs were occupied by robots, which resulted in a high rate of mass unemployment. Because of this, people started spending their time playing online games, relying on online games to make money. Therefore, the gaming industry has become a major economic pillar of the world. In this context, the biggest companies in the industry came together to create the Perfect World game. This game allows you to directly convert game currency through the official platform, as you need to have the currency of the country. The boy pressed the button in front of him and an interesting game machine appeared in front of him. According to rumors, it was a Western MMORPG with fantasy elements. The boy thought that since he had played a similar game before, it would be easier to start this game. Perhaps he would find himself in the same situation as the celebrities and have a chance to change his life with this game. He had to take this chance, as this was his destiny. So he entered the Perfect World game. There were medieval houses and many people around. He himself wore the clothes of those times. The board showed his characteristics. Name: Yu Chu, and title: No health, strength 5, dexterity 5, magic 5, HP 100, attack 50, MP 100, synap 1. Looking at these characteristics, the boy thought that everyone's stats were more or less the same, but then he heard people talking, saying that some of them tried pinching themselves and actually felt pain. One of them asked if there were any system tips for beginners and why the game was so hardcore. The boy thought he should take a look around first, and when he left, a sign appeared saying that this was his achievement: 1 walk, and everything starts with 1 step. And the writing appeared again, so that after 1,000 steps the title would be unlocked. The pedestrian was indicated that he should unlock the divine level skill, the 1,000-mile step. Seeing this, the person took a deep breath, and then the writing appeared again, indicating that this was 1 deep breath. The long breath skill was acquired, and if he took 1,000 deep breaths and unlocked the attainment, he would become a breath master. He was instructed to unlock the divine level skill. Kai's refining the man was very surprised and thought about what happened. Then the inscription appeared again, indicating that this was the only surprise for him. It seemed like the others didn't have it. Maybe it was thanks to him or because of the game mechanics, and he wondered if he could get the skill regardless of what he did. And when he raised his hand, he got a reward for it. He thought that in this game, awakening a divine level skill was enough to change the lives of ordinary people, and if he could get it, he wouldn't be so lucky. There seemed to be certain conditions that had to be met in order to obtain it. As he walked waving his hand, he could see the inscription indicating that he had taken 2 steps. 999 more steps. He took a deep breath, his internal organs strengthening. There were still 999 breaths left to acquire the skill, and he waved his hand for the rest. Looking at her, they didn't understand that this could happen to her. Someone said that she just stood still and watched. Better leave it. And he said that he better hurry up to find monsters to level up, and they wouldn't be able to keep up with the entries. They congratulated him for taking 1,000 steps, and he received the divine skill to lie on the 1,000th step. Because he took 1,000 breaths, he received the divine level skill of refining Kai, and because he took 1,000 swings with his hands, he received the divine skill of killing and swinging. He stood in front of a vast field and thought that no matter which direction he went, there would be the same place everywhere. And he opened his tablet because he had many skills. His skills are like taking a step of 1,000 lies. His speed will increase. Now he can increase his speed by 10 times by increasing his skills. He can increase his high refining speed. His breath gives him experience points. Now he can gain 10 experience points. When he breathes, an increase in strength is necessary to increase his killing skills and swinging. His left arm becomes very powerful. Each of its attacks dealt 10 times more damage, and to increase the skill level, an increase in core stats was required. Xuan thought that this was worthy of being called divine. After all, each of these skills was extremely useful, and on top of that, each skill gave a nice bonus. It was just a kind of reward thanks to Kai's refining skills. He was already 2 levels above the others and already had 4 skill points that could be randomly distributed, so he added them to the target swing, making it stronger, and he still needed time to get the skill. Most of the players were already out, and he wanted to try his 1,000-mile step skill. With this skill activated, he started running at lightning speed, surprising everyone around him. An hour later, he stopped to look around and realized what he was doing. He ran for an hour, but he was still in this place. He thought he could run about 30 kilometers and could overtake everyone. Then a sign appeared where he felt tired for the first time. When he felt tired 10 times, he could unlock the achievement of laziness, and by unlocking it, he could gain a divine ability, immunity to fatigue. When he saw the new achievement, he felt strange and decided to see what other players were saying on the game for him. When he opened the game's forum, those messages were also written there. Messages from Ilovit saying that he really did it. He had been around for a long time, and there was only one field. Other than the players, there was no one else here. Message B was written saying that he also experienced the same thing. He also walked along the west road and found no one message. He said that all he saw was a black shadow running fast. Others asked if it wasn't a deer, but someone said that they should go further. After all, this kind of situation had already happened, and it seems that the safe zone here is huge and needs to be investigated. Having found nothing, I think something is wrong here, and the developer installed such a large and safe zone. Not only that, a friend had an idea, but thought that it was too early to draw conclusions and decided to continue the research. The border of the starter town when he walked here was already completed. There was a river there. He thought that the river must be the border of the safe zone. There were animals on the other side of the river. One was a black forest deer, and the other was a mutated four-horned bull. Seeing this, Chuan was shocked and thought that even after gaining divine ability, he wouldn't be able to compete with him. It is difficult for ordinary players to get out of the safe zone, and if ordinary players encounter monsters, it may happen at night, and at night Woodpecker would be in the safe zone on the field. He thought that knowing this gave him an undeniable advantage. Now he needed to do everything possible to get ready and start crossing the river with the help of the trees. The weather in the perfect world was almost the same as reality, so there was a high chance that the temperature would drop during the night, especially near the river. Therefore, his main task was to collect as much firewood as possible, and he also needed to build a shelter. He started collecting firewood, and while doing so, he found a blind axe. While picking it up, he said there might still be something useful here, so he went to collect more firewood, and in the end he found the silicon stone left by the goblins. The blessed bred a wild object, and for that he received the treasure hunter achievement and was instructed to find 5 items in nature to unlock the treasure seeker title and obtain the divine skill art of Llama in the divine and nature category, where he would get clues to find hidden objects. And he just found hemp rope again and an empty container to get the title. By using the skill, he wanted to see the treasure in this forest, and nothing was found. He realized that there was no treasure in this forest and went looking for a place to camp. He found the place where there was a water source nearby. Taking his axe, he realized that he needed to sharpen it, and seeing a large rock, he began to sharpen his axe. Because of this, he received the attainment of a master sharpener, and after sharpening the weapon 100 times, he was able to unlock the title of sharpener and obtain the sublimated skill of forging a divine rank. Thanks to his skill, its durability, strength, and power will increase. There is also a high probability that it would turn into a new weapon. Seeing this, he began to sharpen his weapon even faster. 10 minutes later, he managed to sharpen his axe to perfection. The axe was made of black ferrous metal, level 1 equipment with an attack power of 10, and it was written that it was used to cut down trees, not effective against humans. He felt that the shark packs had increased his attack power. If there was a lack of time, he would have sharpened it properly, but the case did not wait. It was necessary to look for firewood. Looking at one of the trees, he thought it looked sturdy enough, so he would use it for construction and cut down the tree with a single blow. For this, he received the lumberjack achievement and was given a hint that if he cut down 100 trees, he would get the title of Mad Lumberjack in divine skills as a landscape designer. At the bottom, it was written that he could dig up any tree and transplant it. If he planted it properly, the tree would flourish again. However, he would need a lot of trees, and that was why he abandoned this endeavor. And since he only found 1 hemp rope, he still needed to find some vines. He dragged the tree to its location, and because of that, he obtained the divine level casting master skill. As a casting master, he would be able to easily produce anything he needed as long as he had the necessary materials, and he was instructed to make first-class objects. After a while he would be able to make something useful with what he brought, but when he looked he saw that there were still many materials left. This skill was really amazing, by the way. He decided that he would use these scraps to make something necessary. He created a level 1 rat armor made of rockton and a wooden spear for himself. The rat armor was made of bronze, very sturdy, and provided protection against physical damage. The downside was that it was ineffective against fire. The wooden spear was level 1 bronze, level no less powerful than an iron spear. The disadvantage is that it breaks easily. Suddenly someone attacked him and his health was reduced by -1. Looking to the other side, he realized that someone was approaching. Dark waves gathered around him. Shuan was one that he was being attacked by dark waves and should find a fire as soon as possible. During this time he lost several life points. With the help of his spear he managed to start a fire. He breathed a sigh of relief at being in a safe place and praised himself for having prepared in advance. By lighting the fire he received the fire extraction achievement on the tablet. There it was written that if the fire burned for more than 10 minutes he could earn the title of Fire Lord. He was instructed to unlock the fire control skill and advanced divine skill. Now fire was boiling inside his body and he could use fire magic. Its power would depend on the amount of mana consumed. Shuan was happy that he finally got an attack skill, as all the previous skills were only auxiliary. The fireball attack consumed 10 units of mana and now he had a maximum of 130 units, which meant he could throw 13 such balls. As he launched the fireball it managed to smash a large rock. He was very surprised as this ball was very intimidating to him, and now this ability became his personal card. However, he realized that he couldn't possibly relax. It turned out that at night the safe zone was more dangerous than the cold wave. To see how the other players were doing, he logged into the chat room. One of them wrote that he had gone north and ventured into some kind of forest, but the path was blocked by a river. On the other side there were level 10 and above animals it was impossible to pass through. Another player wrote that it was the same in the west and they stopped here in small groups. Another wrote that continuous cold waves caused damage to players. He wrote that he saw no respawn point. Xuan thought that the players did not progress far from it. The safe zone is circular, so no matter where he goes the situation will not be much different. So the main task today was to get out of here. He realized that he hadn't paid attention to the respawn point either and wondered if it was really impossible to be reborn after the player's death. This information appeared on the forum. Goblins appear in the safe zone and their characteristics are as follows. Attack 30, defense 1, HP 100. They live in darkness, their origin is unknown, and they like to attack at night. When the man was wondering what kind of monsters were inside the safe zone, a sound was heard behind him and a monster jumped out of the bushes, but the man managed to react quickly and stuck his spear into it. Since he had killed the goblin bat, his level increased to 4. The fact that he defeated a monster for the first time, he received the killer achievement. If he killed 10 monsters he received the fighter title and gained the killing skill. The level of the killing skill is incredible. There was a thirst for killing in his heart. Every time he killed he could gain a certain power forever and recover 0% of the damage done to him. And his current power was the power of 1, and to ensure his safety he burned the monster's body, but then the monster's body began to change, becoming almost like a human body. The elder managed to save it and fell to the ground. She one thought that the monster had burned and turned into a human, and then a sign appeared that she had revealed the secret of the goblins, and now her mission had been activated. She had to bring the goblins alive. The current number of goblins in the dark is 9999. The man thought he had to catch the goblins. Of course there were many of them, but they weren't so strong anymore, although they could attack first. And now there was no time to think. If he hesitated, who could fail the mission? It was written on the sign that he had resistance to cold wave damage as well as 50 resistance to ice magic. Now the number of goblins was 31,444. As he ran across the field there were already goblin and human corpses. Some group of people still managed to capture a goblin by tying it to one of the rocks and decided to kill it, but then our hero stopped him with the fact that he fought with a man for the first time with a tantra and received the achievement of a wrestler in a hurry, and was ordered to fight with a man 10 times to get the title of king among wrestlers and get the skills of an expert wrestler. The man asked what he was doing there, and Chaewon apologized and asked to give him this goblin because he really needed a live goblin. If he agrees, he would give him his armor in return with a note that the armor is made of bronze. The man decided to give the goblin and warned her that they had beaten him almost to death and he had lost a lot of blood. He thought it wouldn't take long, and after assessing the situation he realized that this goblin wouldn't last until morning, and after abandoning this endeavor he went in the other direction while thanking his group. The girls wondered why he needed the goblin alive, and then the goblin attacked, ate him, and grew bigger. One player wrote that he thought the kill was very deep and provided a lot of experience. We don't have many of them left. In response, he wrote to him that his hedgehogs understood and they climbed well on a very smelly trail. Another player wrote that he met a strange man who needed a live goblin. He even wanted to give him a bronze armor. His response was to say that it was necessary to exchange the armor for something more expensive than some monsters, and asked if he was really stupid. The man thought that maybe after killing the goblin he would start sniffing around, and now they were avoiding him. And after seeing the number of goblins that weren't left, he was a little upset that he didn't have time. And then a number of goblins appeared on the tablet. The man wondered if the system had made another rug. No matter what, we would not miss this opportunity. When he arrived, instead of coming, there was a goblin with a huge body fighting with others. People thought he was the boss because he was so big. He was a level 3 mutant goblin with 400 life points HP. His skills had no power, only 200, and his condition was now in a state of panic. Someone shouted that the Berserker phase had passed, which meant the goblin had shrunk, and they decided to attack him. Now, however, our main character outwitted them. He quickly tied a rug and said that he needed this goblin alive, saying that they had to leave the goblin and leave, otherwise they wouldn't be responsible for themselves. Chaewon seriously said that he only needed the goblin. One of them shouted that he wanted to steal their monster, and they started attacking him, but their attacks didn't hurt him at all because he had bronze armor and was at level 5. One of them said that he heard that someone exchanged bronze armor for goblins was at him, then they wanted to attack him. But our main character managed to get out of there quickly while killing the leader of the group. The official form said that a violent man had just robbed the Rangers Guild building. Another participant said that all the guild members were there and saw how he killed them armed with a spear. He also had such a high defense that no one could penetrate him. When asked what his name was, some people said that they didn't have time to notice him because he moved so quickly. Chaewon received the title of Savior because the mission was completed. He gained a lot of experience points and rose to level 3, and the first equipment obtained was a sharp iron sword, the second was a dungeon keeper, and the third was a war necklace. The characteristics of the equipment are as follows: Dungeon Guardian, rare silver. Dungeon Guard requires level 5 strength, 15 protection, 15 nameless. Dungeon Defender, rare second-hand necklace with silver, requires level 5 intelligence, 40. Tailor-made for adventure lovers. Recovery of 1% of your life points per second. Sharp iron sword, rare bronze sword, requires level 3. Attack 110, very sharp sword. And from the basement of the well, Chaewon looked at Goblin and wondered what use he was now. After yesterday's frenzy, he was very weak, but there must be another secret hidden considering the previous case. These goblins were formed from humans, so who was the person who turned into a goblin? She was a little annoyed that there wasn't enough information, so he decided to find out what the other participants were saying, but almost everyone was discussing this and it bothered him a little. That's when he realized that many were writing that their spouses and friends had started disappearing. Chaewon thought that this was no coincidence and wondered if it was possible to be reborn after death in this game. Suddenly a video was shown in public where a human player was frozen to death. Someone approached the frozen person and said that all people frozen by the intense cold look like that, adding that he didn't know how to revive them. Nevertheless, the frozen player's eyes turned red. The eyes covering his body began to crack and his skin became bluish. While the man was talking to his customers on the broadcast, the frozen man attacked him, and all of this was recorded live. Seeing this, Chaewon felt goosebumps of fear. He wondered why this frozen player was attacking the other participants. Suddenly a frozen man appeared behind him on a tablet. There it was written that he was a mutated frozen being. His level was 5. He had 500 life points, 500 attack power, and 500 sealed ice points. The otherworldly soul had lost its mind, attacking all creatures in sight and fearing the underground spiritual source. Using the skill killing with hands and a new sword managed to decapitate the monster with a single slash. For this he received many experience points. The monster turned into a human and went to another place. Therefore Chuan received 10 points of luck from it. The opponent gains 50% more experience for 10 days, after which he will receive a bonus based on the amount. Shi-1 realized that zombies are also players. Killing zombies and reviving players would give rewards, and Kai's cultivation didn't give him much experience of zombies. It was a shock for him to learn that he found an underground treasure in the safe zone. Furthermore, the forum reported that his friends were reborn at the location of, and our hero a few hours later managed to kill a few more zombies. There were about 100 zombies